Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I had to turn on some light. I am Crystal L. Gunn. Thank you for joining me for another office hours training. It's still November, so that means it's still National Long-Term Care Awareness Month. And I am providing information and things to consider as it relates to long-term care. So today, let's talk about managing care for aging parents, resources, tips, and common challenges. So caring for aging parents can be rewarding. It definitely is that, but yet it's also challenging, right? It requires balancing emotional, physical, and financial aspects to ensure their well-being while managing your own life, your family, your children, your job, all of that, right? So understanding available resources and strategies can help to ease the process. So here are some common challenges: financial strain. Paying for caregiving services, medical bills, or home modifications can be expensive, especially if parents lack long-term care insurance. And remember, most of these things, items are not covered by your regular health care coverage, right? So if you have somebody coming in, that's an out-of-pocket expense. You still can have medical bills that's coming out of pocket that was not covered from your homeowner's insurance, home modifications, staying in a nursing home or some sort of facility like that. Typically, those funds are coming out of pocket. And Medicare does not necessarily offer full coverage, the best options, plus the income and asset caps that Medicare uh, requires for their services. Another common challenge is the emotional stress. Watching a parent's health decline can be emotionally taxing, often leading to caregiver burnout. So being able to have someone come in to help to relieve that is a great thing to have. And oftentimes, and I see it over and over again, when there's several siblings, usually there's one or two that carries the bulk of that caregiving, right? There's also time management challenges. So balancing caregiving duties with work and personal responsibilities can feel overwhelming, daunting, frustrating, all of the things. And then again, those family conflicts. So disagreements among siblings or relatives about caregiving roles or financial contributions are common, even when siblings are all right there in the same city or connecting cities. Sometimes that stress and conflicts, disagreements, all of that occurs. So, what are some tips for managing care? Plan ahead. With everything in life, planning ahead is just better. Being proactive as opposed to reactive works can save you some time, energy, money, heartache, anger, all of that. So, discuss long term care options early, including preferences for in home care or facilities, right? So your parent may prefer in-home care. They don't want to go to a facility. Okay, well, who's going to come in and take care of them? Because if you work and your siblings work, well, who's going to spend time with them during the day if they need care during that day, right? And in those instances, maybe a facility winds up being better. So having that conversation early on is great because you have time to prepare. Use available resources. So explore government programs like Medicaid. Make sure you are speaking in depth with a Medicaid professional that can tell you all of the benefits, because again, there are a lot of restrictions. I don't want to say a lot. There are some restrictions that come along with being able to get Medicaid, right? Explore veterans benefits and other community service such as meal delivery or transportation assistance. Go to your local, if there's rec centers, if there's district managers, typically those offices have those sort of resources or list of resources that's in your area for these type of things that you may otherwise not know of. So check all of those things out. Churches, Google, use Google for, trying to find nonprofits and other organizations that help in this sort of thing in your area. Also, you want to delegate responsibilities, involve other family members, or hire professional caregivers to share the load. So, if it's four siblings need to contribute. Now, granted, based on what's happening in their family, their responsibilities, their job, they may or may not be able to give the same amount as another. But what can they do? Like, where can they pitch in? Somebody just might be able to pitch in financial resources because their time is so limited or they're not there. Have those conversations so that going into it, whenever it arises, siblings know what they're going to do. Practice self-care. Schedule regular breaks and seek support from caregiver groups to manage stress, right? Caregiving can be hard. And a lot of times the caregiver then puts their own self-care on the back burner. You have to keep your own self-care on the front end so that you can do the caregiving that you need for your parent. And then get legal and financial help. Establish powers of attorney and review wills or trusts to ensure financial and healthcare decisions align with your parents' wishes, right? Managing care for aging parents requires open communication, careful planning, and leveraging available resources. You need a plan. By addressing these challenges proactively, you can provide the best support while maintaining balance in your own life. So do me a favor. Think about your parents, whether they're together or not. Think about your parents. Have you had a long-term care conversation with them? What are their plans? Do they even have any? Do they have long-term care policies, life insurance with chronic illness riders, or the assets to cover any and all costs associated with long-term care? Right? We often in our community, especially, care for our family at home, and the reasons differ from family to family, right? And without any type of long-term care insurance, it can be costly, right? So where it's commendable to care for the ill at home, other options would be great. The monetary support you will receive from long-term care insurance can provide for better care. And that's like really a huge piece when we think about it. Sometimes when someone is at home receiving care, it's because they cannot afford, right, the extra that goes along with long-term care and chronic or critical illness, that those costs that are not covered by healthcare insurance, right? And so they wind up not getting the best care, which ultimately could help with healing, quality of life, extension of life, right? So that monetary support, again, can provide for better care, right? It also, having long-term insurance can keep the family out of financial ruin. So, my favorite thing for today is going to be long-term care insurance for all of the reasons that I've talked about previously this month. For all of the reasons that I talked about today, it just really and truly makes sense. Okay. So that's long-term care. So now that's my favorite thing for today. But what are the next steps? What are you going to do? Number one, you're going to schedule an appointment with your parents. Schedule a time that you can sit down and have really serious conversations with them about long-term care, their desires. When you see the statistic that says 70% of seniors 65 and older will need some sort of long-term care, it only makes sense to have that conversation with them so that you have a plan in place. So have that detailed discussion about long-term care and create a plan. Who's going to do what? Who's around? Are you an only child, right? Like, what's the deal? And start to put that plan into place today, right? You got to put the plan in place today. We often think that we have so much time to do a thing. Time is moving rapidly, and we don't know what tomorrow holds. So if we have a plan and a written plan, and we have the insurance in place, and we have all of these things in place, God forbid or if it happens where long-term care is on any level is necessary, you can go back and pull that plan out, knowing that you were proactive in the planning, and it should make things easier from the financial and the caregiving side. The emotional side, that's a spiritual and a faith walk. And not having the financial burden on top of that is really, really huge. So we often think that we have time, and in reality, we don't, because we don't know the hour or the day. We don't know what the future holds. But also in that, the earlier you start to prepare, again, just for the insurance part of it, the earlier you start to prepare, the better, because you have more time, you're healthier, which means that insurance costs less money. Doesn't mean that you can't get any and it won't be affordable, but still, the earlier you start is always, always better. If this information has been helpful to you, please subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on so that you do not miss a session. And also share this information with someone else, family members, friends, even your family. Like, if you have siblings, especially today, because we're talking about caring for aging parents, if you have siblings, share this with them so that, sometimes people hear other people better than they hear your siblings may hear something better from someone else than from you. But encourage them to watch this episode so that you all can start having those conversations. And again, it may wind up being easier to get them to have the conversations if the messaging has come from someone else first. Right? So share this information with someone that you never know what someone has been praying for, what they are in need of. This just might be the thing that they need. And again, share it with your siblings so that you can have those conversations with them and your parents about long-term care. Also, remember to always give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace for what you messed up in the past, what you didn't know, what you did know and did something anyway. Give yourself some grace. You, however, cannot continue to give yourself for the same thing once you've learned about it. You now know. And I've talked about long-term care and long-term insurance. You now know about it. So to go about your day and not look into it and not put something in effect, you can't give yourself grace for that, because you already know now. So you can't give yourself some grace for that. Keep striving. Never, ever, ever give up on you, and always, always invest in you. You are worth it, and it is the best investment that you will make, and you will never, ever, ever regret it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Crystal L. Gunn, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Be sure to join me for the private online Q&A immediately following. The link is in the description. And if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on so you never miss this opportunity. Thank you again, and I will see you